You know what? When I spend my money on is my choice, okay?
Yeah.
Speaking of ruining you for life,
Please.
I want to have a look at this topic. There has been a bit of a slip of the tongue from the Reserve Bank of New Zealand's governor, Adrian. He made a bit of a joke a couple of weeks ago, and the crypto world has just kind of jumped on it.
Yes.
It's really, really fascinating to listen. Let's have a listen to it.
The fiscal challenges, etc., that are there. So very focused on being cost effective. We actually fund ourselves and then work out what dividend is needed to pay. So we kind of it's a great business to be in, central banking. You print money and people believe it, and touch wood. So it's a slightly different beast.
People
We
believe
print money and people believe it.
It's a great business to be in, central banking, where you print money and people believe it.
I love it.
There's a from the horse's mouth. And this is why it's not an even playing field. This is why you are struggling. This is why you are enslaved.
Yep.
I'm just going to say it. This
That's
is
true.
why you aren't getting ahead. That is one of the reasons, is that the banks can print money. The other issue that you shouldn't be subjected to is, of course, taxation. You were never designed to live in a system that taxes you for everything. And even all the hidden taxes, we live in one of the most taxed nations of the world in Australia. You're paying tax when you don't even realize you're paying tax at the grocery store. A lot of it is GST. A lot of it is capital gains tax in terms of housing. A lot of it is when you're at the petrol bowser, tax that you're paying. The third thing that you're missing out on in terms of why you're not getting ahead is interest rates with the banks as well. If they're able to create this out of thin air and pay it and then charge you interest on it at the full rate, let me tell you now, they're not playing that game. And so you've got to play the game smarter. You've got to outsmart them at their own little game.
you have to have that knowledge, and people just, unfortunately, whether it's due to ignorance, family pressure, like the best thing I did was ignore my family when we purchased the units at Geraldton.
Right.
I've done some quick maths, and not just what we're going to make off Geraldton when it finally sells, but what it's enabled us to be able to do. That $70,000 investment over 5 years worked out to close to $500,000. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to do your own research, understand what you're getting into, and then ignore the naysayers. So still, like, when I say ignore the naysayers, like, if you've got someone who's, let's say, is very fixed, and they say, no, you go pay off your family home first, and they're 70 years old, they've only ever had one house, and they're earning $300,000 a year. Well, obviously they're not doing something right. So go out, have a shot, especially if you're young, like say 25, 30, you finish your degrees, whatever, you've just started earning money. That's the best time to start investing, because, well, any time's a great time to start investing, but you've got time to make the mistakes and come back from it. So, and housing is very safe.
Property is only one way that people make money. There's so many different ways to make money.
Oh, there's heaps.
And
they're all over the place.
I mean, those comments were actually coming in when they were looking at the possibility of implementing a CBDC. New Zealand and this sort of stuff, and they've been very threatened by crypto. And some banks here in Australia are very threatened by crypto. They won't allow you to.
I think they are closing people and freezing people's accounts who are purchasing crypto. So as far as I'm concerned, that's unlawful. You should. The bank has no right, in my mind.
I've been talking to Shaq, so
okay. That, you know what? When I spend my money on is my choice. Okay, it's my decision. It's not up to NAB or ANZ or anything like that.
No, I agree with that, but it kind of gets frustrating when you get people who say, "Oh, the bank should have done something to stop so and so from getting scammed." Like, there's always two sides of each coin. So there's give and take. So if you want the banks totally out of your business. Like, you do what you want with your money. They don't interfere. They don't hold it for safety reasons. They don't do anything. When money gets taken out of your account unlawfully, do you really have an excuse to argue the bank that they allow?
And I'll tell you why. Because they're making money out of my money. No. The service they provide, they are charging me for. They are making money from my money. So therefore, this is a contract as far as I'm concerned. The contract stating that, you know what, for the privilege of using my money, For you making money, you protect my money. That's how I see it.
So then don't complain when they block your account when you try and send it to somewhere that they've been told to protect you from.
No, but no. But you're saying no. That's not the same thing.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. But I just want to make sure people are aware of the flip side as well.
Of course, there's a flip side. But if you say to your bank, right?
Yep.
Okay, and ANZ is a good example because here in WA, Australia, full stop. They've been doing this. Okay, ANZ have been really on the front foot of stopping people from using crypto. Right? Okay, they really have. NAB's followed up and started to put all these, and we've got the know your client rules and all of that rubbish.
The government put the know your client rules in, not the banks.
Yeah, very true, very very true. But yeah, ultimately, if you say to your bank, "This is someone I wish to trade with," no, I'm sorry, they've got no right to interfere.
100% agree with you, and they shouldn't be allowed to tell you where you spend your money. But you expect them, if they see a suspicious transaction on your account, to block it. And I have to say, we've had our bank accounts hacked in the past, and they got us 100% of the money back within a couple of days. Like, they were really, really proactive for it. That side of things, I think ANZ actually did a good job. NAB was another one that was. They took about a week when the NAB bank accounts got hacked, but when it happened within a couple of days later, it's like, you guys haven't followed up on this one, so we're out. We're going to another bank. But again, when I transferred from ANZ to the cryptos account, it was instant. It was fine. I got a text message, "Hey, is this you?" I said, "Yes." Money went. No worries. So it's a lot of it comes down to how protective do you want the banks to be. So Bendigo at the moment is actually being fairly good. So you know what? If you don't like the bank and what they're doing, understand the system, understand what they want, and then go to a bank that has the product for you. So there's nothing to stop you from shopping around.
Now, these guys that we've just seen in the video footage, these are central bankers, which is very different from your retail bankers, your mum and dad bankers. It's also very different from business banking and that sort of thing. These are the ones who issue currency into the system, and then all the retail bankers feed off that.
Correct.
Okay?
Something to remember, they are not the government.
No. See, most of us thought they were the government. I grew up most of my life thinking the Reserve Bank was actually a government department.
I think there's like 2 countries where the government actually controls their own reserve bank. I think Cuba was one, and another, like,
it's gone so
Iraq
well,
or something. Too. So they were like 2 really weird places. So
I'm surprised on the Cuba thing, but all right, fine. I look, ultimately, this is more reason in my personal thoughts is to be more concerned about what's the term I'm searching for? The computer money, basically. What I'm trying to say.
Cryptocurrency.
No, not crypto. No, it's computer money. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It really is. Okay. To have a bank in complete control of all your money, to have the government have all that ability to delve into your own money, you lose control of yourself. Yes.
I'm taking the risk with sending money that way. That's my problem. I don't think anyone should be getting involved in that. So, but then there's people saying, "Oh, no, we need to regulate crypto to make it safe. So if you do make that mistake, you can get your money back." And it's like, well, you may as well just be in the bank then.
Yeah.
So,
the returns are much bigger in crypto. I suppose that's
but then the risks are also much bigger.
And risk and reward are always
the losses. Are much bigger
absolutely,
too.
Exactly.
But and I think what you've got to realize too is people think banks are safe. If you keep your money all in cash, though, you're getting inflation eating away at the purchasing value of that, which we've really seen lately.
Well, apparently, we have music playing.
Okay.
The other area that people don't recognize in terms of building wealth, one of the other areas is, well, there's 3 main areas. One of them we've alluded to, which is property. The other one is business, and the other is trading. So, and we've kind of alluded to that with crypto. Some people trade at crypto, but there's also the stock market and these sort of areas. So diving into those and looking at what is your life purpose and teeing it up. Then going, all right, which one do I have a bit of a natural bent for? Is often a good way to go.
Thoroughly agree. Where would you like to go on this? Because this is like, I mean, we've got so much information coming in here. We've got we're seeing so much government interference in the way that we run our own finances, right? We're seeing a social credit score being introduced. We are. Okay.
I think we already have it.
No,
it's you know what? Credit score.
Yeah, your credit score is that, but this is taking it to another level.
And I just was reading an article before we went to air about how a lot of people aren't meeting the minimum payments for credit cards and how that may affect their credit score. And I'm kind of going, well, at what point does the population go, stuff this system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll pay
Yeah.
it whenever I darn well want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
pay
yeah.
it.
Yep.
And if they do, the banks are not going to like that
No,
because
no.
they love to intimidate. They love to be the big
Oh,
bully on the block.
absolutely.
Hey, you hand over your lunch money and you hand it over now, right?
Well, the bullying, just bullying full stop. I'm going to have the little side note. It's happening right here at Edge right now. I won't go into the details.
Oh, we will shortly. Not this show, but another
Okay,
one.
well, perhaps another show. But
We got to talk to lawyers first.
Oh, I don't know. I can touch enough. I don't care enough about lawyers. I don't like lawyers much. But, you know, like people love to bully and control other people, whether it be the financial industry or whether it be, well, government, quite frankly. And it's also other people. There's this, it's almost like, I don't know, there's been
Can you imagine?
degrading of the conscience of human beings, right? Where that people are really enjoying having powers over others. And it's so often the people who pretend and profess very loudly they believe in free speech, for argument's sake, or freedom of this or that, whatever, who are actually the great controllers.
I'm wondering how long it takes until there's a mass uprising against the government and the banking system. Because can you imagine what would happen if everyone goes, you know what? I'm not paying the mortgage for 3
But
months.
most people don't have the courage to do it.
People don't
imagine
realise-
if it was Australia-wide.
Yeah.
But imagine,
magnificent.
okay, you raise a great point. What do banks fear the most? A run on the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hate that. They
Take the money
they're
out.
terrified of a run on the bank. And if people stop using them, then they go, well, this has been the argument with CBDC is people going, well, do we actually need a bank if we do have a CBDC that's issued by the government, right? And or by a centralized bank?
Sure.
It totally gets rid of the. I don't know that it'll go to that extreme because I don't think CBDs are going to come in. I think there's going to be enough blocking. We're already seeing resistance in the United States, but certain states are banning the use of CBDCs.
Cool.
I believe that's going to catch on. And I think enough people need to rise up and realize and demand that in their own areas. I do not want this for myself or my kids or my grandkids. But I also think there's going to be some form of lending that people will want when it comes to finance. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing for the navigate. But what I'm looking at, if I pull back from the situation, go, why are the banks reducing the amount of branches that you can actually visit?
Yep.
Secondly, why are they reducing the amount of ATMs that you can now visit? Those typical signs are going, they're not for nothing. There's something going on in the background there that I just go, things that make you go, right?
Damn straight. I would love to see a run on the banks. I really would. I want to see that.
I'd love to see a run on the housing market.
You've got to think of what would happen if that occurs, right? That's going to also interrupt and disrupt business.
Yeah.
That's going to interrupt mum and dads. You don't want a social panic. We've seen what people get nervous about if they don't think they have enough toilet paper, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to handle this correctly.
I don't know. I'm for a little
it's more
social
getting
panic.
to a point of how is a bank there to serve you?
Yeah, but they're not. This is the point. They're not there to serve you, right?
No, they're there to
they're
make
there
money.
to serve themselves, right? They're there to make money, exactly. And like, I understand what you're saying, and you're right. I mean, look how people reacted about toilet paper as the most fundamentally stupid thing to be panicking about anyway. But okay, but so I don't know. I think we need a little social anarchy here. I think we need something big that just says to the system, excuse me, but enough.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I think there just has to be that time where everybody just stamps their foot down like a petulant child and just goes, no. It's a very simple word, no. And why the hell don't we use it enough?
Because this is the reason why I like the mortgage run the best, because there's a lot of legislation in place to protect the homeowner. So, for example, if you make a hardship claim, the banks makes it really, really hard for the bank to repossess the house. Now, this isn't telling people to do this. Remember, seek professional financial advice.
Of course.
But let's say you do have a hardship claim. It gets accepted. You don't make your payments. You're actually allowed to draw down your super to make the payments for the interest that you've missed. So a lot of people don't know this. Like, it's actually in your contracts for when you get a mortgage.
Sure.
So let's say everyone lost their job or something happened in the family and we all made hardship claims at the same time and froze our payments for 3 months. Can you imagine the
that?
chaos that would cause to the banking system? Like, it would be absolutely nuts. Because the thing is, your money's still in the bank.
Yep.
You've followed the legislation to what you're allowed to do.
That's
So
right.
they can't really take action against you. It might be a little bit harder for 6 months or so to buy another house. But with the prices out at the moment, unless you're coming up with $100,000 to $200,000, you can't buy a house anyway.
That's right.
So,
You need a massive deposit.
what's 5 years of not being able to get another credit card? or another
Oh,
personal
but
loan.
okay, you're screwing with people's psyche there because
Yeah.
people live from credit card to credit card.
Yeah,
Right?
and see, that's something that needs to stop.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but the one my ex-wife used to do this. She would get one credit card, then get the 12 months interest-free and balance transfer, and then she'd transfer it to another and another and another. And then she'd go, oh, look at all these points I got. And like, I don't care. Look at all the credit card debt we've got.
Yeah.
And the amount of fights we used to have over that shit. Like, I think credit cards are probably one of the first things that people need to get rid of.
Well, debt is a trap, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
and let's take it even further and broader, right? Why is human trafficking existing? In many cases, it's because of debt. We will work this
good
off with
point.
the family.
Yeah.
Because you owe us X, Y, Z, and
Yeah.
it goes into the black market and it gets really, really dirty.
And you're seeing the lowest form of humanity right
And,
there.
Scripture tells us, the old book tells us that
Mm.
he who is in debt is servant to the
right.
is slave to the borrower.
Slavery.
Slave to the lender, I should
Yep.
say. So it is a modern form of slavery, and it's not even modern. It's been around for centuries, right?
Yeah.
But we don't see the human trafficking underbelly here
Sure.
in Australia. I believe it exists.
Mhm.
I
I think you do. There's places that I go that I think
Places that you go, hey,
places that I go.
I think it is.
No. Okay. You know what? Okay, I've got some places you go and you'll buy food, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now I like cuisines from other countries, right? So I'm going to go to particular places, and I don't know, but there's a lot of people working there that I don't think are here legally. Let's be very frank.
I think a lot of stuff in Australia, the corruption goes on, is very subtly done.
Yeah,
very
thoroughly
under
agree.
the surface, under the radar.
I look at the market gardens near my old house, right? Okay.
are they even still there?
awful?
Or they
lot-
all get burnt out?
Depends which one.
Yeah.
But yeah, depends who owned them. But I see a lot of people who were working there who didn't speak a lot of English. Didn't look like they'd been here for a long time. Just say.
So we have a couple of comments here.
Yeah.
And I actually quite like this one. So I'm going to put it up on the screen.
Please do.
So the first one, Damien, I bought my house 7 years ago in the south of the river, $220,000. And Aaron was the one and the very few that was supportive of our choice. It's just a 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom on 800 square meter block. I'll never forget his support. So thank you, Aaron, for supporting people in the decision. Gen X are
thanks,
taught to never question authority. My parents were the few who said to question authority. So I know with my mum, like, she was always saying, think for yourself. If your mate put his head in a fire, would you do the same thing? And then she tells me what to do. I was like, no, stuff, you don't question everything.
Yeah, I don't know, Damon. Well, 2 things. Thank you for the stuff you said about the house. I mean, I think that. I mean, if you've got 2 people, what do you need a 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom? It's crazy.
Aaron.
I look at it
Yes,
this way.
Bad example. Follow my words, not my actions.
All right, Central Bank.
Yes, okay. My house was ridiculously big for 1 person, but it wasn't for 1 person. I got it because there was 8 people at the time.
Yes.
I had 6 beautiful children, right, and a beautiful family that I miss very much every day, right. So, but yes, the common sense thing was when I lost my family, whether it was stolen by the West Australian Family Court, when I lost them when they were stolen, I should have just downsized, shouldn't I? Right. But you live in hope and you know, the psychological side of things. So, but yes, live within your means, right? Live within your means. You know, did I need, honestly, that's a great example.
Yep.
As a single person, did I really need a 300 square meter house? No, absolutely.
Is that really
not.
how big it was?
Yeah, near
That's
enough.
A monstrous
near
house.
There is that. Then there's the other side that your life purpose is bigger than your wallet.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So
And I don't care about my wallet anymore. The wallet is, I mean, I need some money because please help.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you need money because you've got to, you know, live. But at the same time, if you make that your mistress, right, you're always chasing it. You don't actually see the big picture of
you'll
what
never
you're
have
after.
enough.
You will never have enough.
I so want to put a K-pop quote in here. So Lisa Money, there's a big neon sign behind that says money is a terrible what is it? Money is a great mistress but a terrible money is a great servant but a terrible master.
I love that. And I'll say this, I've had the money, I've had the toys, I've had the big lifestyle, all kind of carry on. And do you know what? I had more fake people in my life than any other time of my life. And when I've been on my butt, broke and struggling, right?
And houseless.
I have seen the greatest picture of humanity that you could imagine. And the people in my life are all genuine, right? I certainly believe so. Certainly in my inner circle of people that I care about and that, you know, that I converse with and communicate with all the time, they are the real deal. Now, when I was living the high life and the fancy cars and the fancy girls and the fancy this and that, it's fake. it's fake.
Absolutely.
Right? And if you let that become your master, and you also let it become you, right? So you start to believe your own advertising. It's not a good thing. You need to be. I'm not saying everyone go get broke, all right? I'm saying quite the opposite. Create financial wealth so you can buy yourself some freedom. I absolutely 100% believe in that. But just keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on your life purpose.
I look at it this way too. What if you could build a successful business where you don't need the bank to buy your house?
Yep, spot on.
Right?
Yep.
You don't owe anything. You actually, what does a business do? It solves problems for people.
Yeah,
Okay.
spot on.
You got a leaky pipe, you call a plumber, right? You need to drill a hole in the wall, you go to a hardware store
Sure.
to get a drill to drill a hole in the wall. This is what it does. So what problems can you solve in humanity is a great way to look at the whole perspective of this. And be in a system where you go, I don't need to be reliant on a lender to do that. Now, for most people, that's out there thinking. That is
But
just
it's very possible.
it's very possible. It's very possible because if you
Gail
set
said hi.
yourself up instead
Gail
of
said, great listening to you, Aaron.
Oh,
So you got a fan there?
lovely. Thank you very much, Gail.
swapping your time for money, you actually are setting yourself up in such a way that you can make insurmountable money over whatever period of time. Now, you may not get it like that 2 weekly pay things automatically transferred in your bank account. And I've heard people take it to the extreme. That's like a cocaine shot that you actually are reliant on, a cocaine hit, that you're waiting for that to come every fortnight. That's kind of I think it's pretty extreme, that description, but I've heard it described that way.
No, I can understand that one.
Yeah, I understand what they're trying to get at. And I think if you can get to a point where you don't know what your income is, it's variable, but there's no restrictions on how much you can earn. So 1 month you might be making, let's say, I don't know, $3,000, and the next month you're earning $30,000.
That's right.
Could you mentally handle that and get to the point? And you are now at a point where you are making a lot more than you would have over that 8 weeks.
For sure. Look, there's obviously always there's something to be said about either argument. There is something very nice and comforting in safety, right? Knowing that every fortnight you're getting that amount of money, and you cover your bills and all that. And so, I mean, I'm not saying, I would never say that's a bad lifestyle. You choose the lifestyle and the occupation, whatever that suits what you want to achieve.
Well, that's what they want to sell you on universal income.
Damn straight.
You be their pet. You be the government's pet. Here is what will come in every
I would
fortnight.
milk that for all it's worth. Like, if you again, if you know the system, if they turn around and go, you know what, we don't give everyone 50,000 a year.
Yep.
Hell yes.
Yeah, but what
because
strings are attached, Travis?
That's all right. I'll just send the money offshore.
Nothing is free.
Like,
Nothing is free. No
Of
such
course.
thing as free lunch, my friend.
But the thing is, if you know the system, you know how to defend yourself against that
True,
system.
very
So then
true.
you go invest wherever it is where the government can't touch it, and happy days. Take the free money.
Take the free money.
Like, obviously, there's an expense to it. Like,
Well,
you give up certain
wouldn't
things.
it be better
but-
be in a position where you just don't need that money?
Yeah, but I'm
You're
talking
just
about
going,
from someone.
fine.
So let's say a kid coming up through things, they've just finished high school, where they come from, let's say a single parent household where they had to go to a state government school, which isn't the greatest.
Sure.
So there's no backing, there's no help, or like they're doing this on their own. And government comes on and goes, you know what? I'm going to give you $50,000 a year.
Okay.
Why wouldn't you take it?
Well, okay, then you could make the argument about our Indigenous community, right? Because but look at the social damage doing
Yes,
that to our Indigenous.
But how many
communities
of
done.
the Indigenous kids are actually going to school?
Well, it's terrible. They're
How many
not.
of those
That's the
Indigenous
problem.
kids are actually getting the financial education to know what to do with
We,
their
got some
handouts?
really-
we as humanity are designed to work.
Yes.
We are meant to, with the sweat of our brow, to do that. And I'm not talking about toil, but we are meant to work.
Sure.
We are meant to do something.
Oh,
Because you
absolutely.
go home, particularly as a man, and you go, I've accomplished something.
Yep.
I've done something with my life. It was worthwhile. I've improved or grown. Humanity is designed to grow. And if
Totally
we
agree.
stop growing, we start to implode. We start to die.
Yeah.
And I think we've got to bear that in mind, no matter whatever handout you want to receive.
Yep.
Somebody pays for it, Travis.
Of course they do. And
Somebody's
I'm
paying
not
for it.
disagreeing with that side
I
of things.
get your
Yeah.
point, but I want to use our Indigenous community as the example, right?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I've got mates of every color and background known to man. Okay,
Yep.
I know some really good Indigenous friends, or I'll go back to using the old-fashioned term, Aboriginal friends, right? Okay, who are just great people. Now, some of them choose to take all those handouts. Some of them choose not to, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, the problem is strings are always attached.
Yes.
And if you look at that community if you want to use that as an experiment, okay, that is a great experiment of showing how You are de-incentivizing people to step up. You are, look, why survive when you can thrive is my little theory on this.
So
When
those
you're-
handouts are designed for you to survive and nothing more. They want to keep you in that position.
Spot
They
on.
want to keep you dumb. They want to keep you uneducated.
Yeah.
So what happens is you take that money, you make sure you get yourself educated, you understand the systems, and you put the structures in place that you can pull yourself out of the system where you're dependent on those handouts to a position where you can actually sort yourself out. You've got businesses and entities set up
Yep.
to pull you out of that system. Now, how many people, and if we're using the Indigenous community as an example, how many of those people in Indigenous communities know where to get their education, how to get their education, and how to fund that education?
They don't, because that is kept from them to a big
Spot
degree,
on.
right? So, okay, I've got an Indigenous mate who has used the system very, very carefully.
Yep.
Right, he's used the handouts and the, they would suggest hand-ups, but I think they're handouts in a lot of cases, right? He's used them very cleverly. He has built a fantastic career out of it, and now he's effectively free of the system.
Yep.
He still uses the positive things with it, right?
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and the box ticking, all that kind of
That's
carry.
that's
right?
the
Okay.
system you're in.
Now,
So-
again, we get back to education. If people knew that they could do this, I'm more in your sort of school of thought. I wish there wasn't all the handouts and the universal income and all that kind of thing. But I do also
So
understand your
the
point of
problem is, if you're a
Use the tools
lower
available to you.
socioeconomic person, you're in a socialist economy.
Yeah,
I
true,
strongly
true.
believe Australia, if you're
Yeah.
earning less than 100,000, even less than $130,000 a year, I believe you're in a socialist economy. How
I
much
wish-
of your tax is being paid out in Centrelink and welfare payments? It's
Right
a massive
now,
wealth
I absolutely
distribution.
wish I didn't disagree with that. I wish I could have disagreed with you rather, but you are absolutely right. If
So
you are controlled, and the decisions you make, like, okay,
to the point
well, hang
where
on, hang on, you want to send
they
your kids?
even tell you what schools you're allowed to send your kids to.
Yeah, well, hang on. They tell you what chemicals to put into your kids.
Spot on.
You can't put your kids in daycare unless
Unless
they've
they're
got,
vaccinated.
spot on.
Yep.
You can't. send
They
them to
actually
school.
reduce your welfare payments if they're not vaccinated.
I believe. Now I could be wrong on this,
Yeah.
but
No, I can confirm that for 100% because we've just had a letter for Estelle.
Right. I was told that basically, if you don't get the jabs for your children, you don't get the tax benefit, whatever.
A and
happens.
B, no, you still get it. They just massively reduce it.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
Okay, there you go.
So yes, I am getting a reduced family tax benefit A and B for Celeste and Estelle.
Because you chose a particular health path for your own child.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, government don't want you to be a parent. They want to be the parent.
They want to control everything you
Yep.
do, and they're trying to do it through threatening your welfare payments.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, both Luan and I, we don't drink. Well, Luan doesn't drink and smoke full stop. I drink when Shaq's around. So a little bit of a headache today, but anyway. So in that regards, we're not dependent on paying $70 for a packet of smoke
Yeah.
or $130 for a packet of beer.
Yep.
You know, so straight away that money, because we don't smoke and drink, or not often,
The fact
we
that
can
you
put
called-
that into an
Yeah, the fact that you called it a packet of beer shows how much you drink.
Well, I'm a whiskey drinker,
Yeah.
so it's
yeah, I know exactly right. And people who are smoking every day, I mean, are spending
Like-
typically $350 a
So,
week on cigarettes.
Shaq
It's-
smokes, so I helped him out. I went to get out and get a packet of smokes for him. $69 for a packet of smokes.
Damn. Okay,
I
there you
was
go. I
like-
didn't know that. There you go. Yeah.
Crazy.
But yeah, look,
So-
look, ultimately, but okay, it's his right to smoke.
Yes.
I don't smoke. I don't want to smoke, right? But I absolutely 100% support
And
someone's
he even smokes
choice.
outside because I don't want him smoking in the house.
Good stuff.
So,
Right.
but that's
but,
my house.
But
so
okay,
it's my
you
rule.
could even look at the taxation on cigarettes as a way of, the way that they're controlling you. They're
And
stopping people from smoking.
they're claiming it's, if you want something to go away, tax the shit out of it.
Mm.
It's not don't go away. It's an addiction. They've
Okay.
legalized the addiction.
Can we tax Albanese, tax the shit out of him so he disappears?
The problem, see, and this is where Australia's really funny, because I had come up with this theory the other day. So once you hit a certain point and you get a certain education level, you're no longer in a socialist economy. You start going into a capitalist economy.
Okay.
So that's where all the different structurings are in place to pull you out. So once you get to a point where you've got the education, you've got access to the council, that can set things up, lawyers and financial planners and all that sort of stuff, they can set things up for you.
Yep.
It's at that point that you're no longer in a socialist economy. Now, if you don't do those things because you don't have the education, you stay in that socialist economy and you'll never break out of it because you're taxed up the wazoo and you can't do anything. And you get no help from the government and you're just stuck.
I don't know if this figure is accurate because, as we all know, 76% of statistics are made up on the spot, but I'm pretty sure this is fairly accurate. I actually, several years ago, came up and they went through Australian taxes, and it showed you how much you were actually taxed for every dollar. Once, obviously, you take in, your GST, because everyone thinks, GST, it's 10%. No, it's not. Well, the way it all rolls out. Your excise on your fuel, your this payment, that payment, whatever. Right? Guess how much the figure out of every one single dollar? How much tax were you paying for every dollar?
I've heard 93 cents.
That's the figure.
Yeah.
93 cents.
Yeah.
So you go to work for 7 cents an hour.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Well, it's
yeah.
40, or let's say you're getting $40 an hour. It's 40
on the
times
dollar is
7
what
cents.
I meant to say.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we do have a question here from Damien.
Sure.
And like that's another reason why I still believe that Australia is a socialist economy on the lower markets, and as you get up, you've got to change what system you're in. And the way they do that is through ABNs, foundations, structures, and all that sort of stuff. So going to Albanese, should we tax the hell out of him? Hell yes, but he's not in the socialist economy in Australia. He's in the capitalist economy in Australia.
Yes.
So
I was just joking about him.
Damien, do you know if they teach budgeting at primary school? It's only been 30 plus years since I've been at primary school, so I don't know.
I remember we had to, in one class in year 10, I think it was, request it. We students had to request it. We said, because, back then, a lot of people didn't go through to year 12. So a lot were graduating at 15. And we kind of said to our social studies teacher, we want to do budgeting.
I love how it's your social studies teacher, not your maths teacher doing it.
Yeah,
it's fascinating, isn't it?
Like, because accounting is a maths thing. But anyway.
Yeah. And so we had to research how much a car was, how much car payments would be, all that stuff, how much rent would be, food, etc. And just start thinking about those things if you're a kid, right?
My year 10 maths teacher actually we had an assignment once, and I think this is a really positive thing. We had to do our tax returns. Okay.
Oh, mine wasn't that.
Oh, they gave us an income and that sort of thing. And I think, wow. And we only got it once and then it disappeared. But this is something that should be part of the curriculum.
I did intro calc out for 11 to 12 calculus. So we had to work out interest rates, payments, how much the payments were going to be, how much interest you're paying over the life of the loan, the term of the loans, and all that sort of stuff, and using all the funky formulas. Don't remember any of it. So, because we've got calculators for that shit now. Anyway, so it was kind of interesting looking back at it. So I think it's actually a much better question than what you realize, Damien, because looking back at it, they were already programming us. Of course, don't buy a car cash, buy it on finance.
Yes. That's
so
right.
we were at year 11. So a lot of us had started working by that stage. So I was at Woolworths. I was a stacker in the fruit and veg department.
Yep.
So I was like, yeah, I'm earning $100 a week. Like, yes. And so I was like, oh, straight away what I did, I was like, right, I've got to buy a car soon. So if I'm earning $100 a week, and let's say I take $80 a week for car repayments, that means I can borrow enough money to buy a car for this much if I put it over this sort of term of loan. So that was the first thing I did, is let's get a new car, like, because I want a new car.
Right.
So in thinking about it, I actually think, Damien, that's probably one of the questions of the day. So
I think also I've got one of my students is a maths teacher that I'm working with now.
Right.
And he was telling me, he gives me feedback from what he's doing in his classroom. And it's interesting because they were learning about compound interest. And I talk about compound interest in my one of my courses at one point. And that brought up the discussion. And he said, if you are, there's simple interest and compound interest. So if you're paying a loan at compound interest, this is what you pay. And he said to them, because he was doing my course, he said, now think about it this way. What if you were doing investments that were earning compound interest?
Yes.
And then he said,
I'm really glad you did that.
He said suddenly you saw the light bulbs go on with a couple of his students who started thinking, hang on a second. He says, and that's always the aim. If you can get one or two students to catch it, you've done a good job in your classroom.
Low percentages there. All right. So we've got a few minutes left. So let's delve into the questions, mate.
All right, we're up to the last one now. So the ladies and gentlemen watching online, if you do have any questions and you want our feedback on it, feel free to chuck the comments in there. Just be aware there's a few people that are watching on our Aaron and my private pages. So if for some reason those comments don't come through sometimes, so jump over to the Edge Radio Facebook page, or you can pull it up on the YouTube and the questions will come through. So Jeff Goldburn said to Mark Wahlberg in a movie, you need to be financially secure enough to have FU money.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I can't remember what movie, but I know the things. But it's a pretty good point, because if you've got, from a personal point of view, if you've got enough money in the bank account, like when you say, and it doesn't have to be a lot. Let's say you got $5,000 in the bank account after all your expenses are gone, there's a great comfort knowing, you know what, if shit happens, I know next month's sorted.
Well, let's take it further than that.
Yeah.
On that comment, right?
Yep.
What if you're so financially set up and financially in a situation where you don't care if they cut off your bank accounts and freeze them because of what you say publicly?
Yeah.
And what if you don't care? If in terms of what you're involved in your nation and the direction it is, and it disrupts things, you don't care about the system and how it touches. If you're untouchable in that system.
Is your name Musk by any chance?
So let's take it to that extreme, because let's say it, you are then really financially independent.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
People come to me going, I want financial independence, or I want financial freedom. Well, what does that look like? Take it to the point where you can live the life you really want to, and you're not threatened by those threats.
So to me, I joke about the term, comfortably numb, right? I remember years ago, and I've said before about, having greater finances years ago, the freedom that the other side of the coin is the freedom that I had a friend who was in a bad way in the eastern states, right? Okay. And I literally went, they need me. I just went, booked a plane, boom, flew straight out. Okay. Now that's freedom to me. That's independence. That's financial independence.
So
now, hang on. I've had the same situation when I've been, working and living week to week and struggling, and I literally had to put the thumb out and hitchhike to go to somebody who needed me. Right. Now that's such a simple way of the freedom of money, because a lot of people go, oh, you're being a capitalist, and seeing this big negative. No. I look at it this way. I am simply buying freedom. I'm buying options. I'm buying, like, I just joked about Musk, but the reality is with Twitter, when they're saying, oh, we've got advertisers who are withdrawing, right? Because, he's pro free
I love that comment.
I think, what do you say, mate?
Yeah, we'll go with Disney.
I think when people first start this journey, I think they really do need to set a couple of goals.
Yep.
So one of the first goals that I set in this whole entire journey, and it started when I had my motorbike accident, because all of a sudden, as a family, we went from about 200,000 a year down to about 30, I think it was. So massive reduction. Ooh. So we had to make a decision immediately. Do we sell up everything and get our expenses down? But we had expenses our wazoo. Like we weren't careful with our money. So one of the first things that we had to do is we looked at our expenses versus our income. And through our investments, we want to make sure we had more investments coming in than the money going out each month. And so to me, that's my definition of wealthy. If you don't give a shit whether you get fired tomorrow or not, you're wealthy, because you don't have that pressure of a job. So when you just down tools and went to your mate, is that because your money was coming from your job, or was it because you had investments making the money coming
in?
Yep.
I had that freedom to do it. Very, very, very good point. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've come to the end of the show. This has been, of course, Greater Wealth here on Edge Radio Australia. Thank you for everybody who's been online throwing comments in. Really love that. Love it to be interactive. I'll be like your wife, mate. You got 30 seconds.
So I just want, please don't do that. My girls are listening. So I just want everyone to give the girls a thumbs up, because they're watching all the way from Vietnam. So hearts and all that sort of stuff on social media, so they can see all the things come up. And I just think it's
two
cute.
of the most beautiful, wonderful little girls that you will ever imagine. In fact, quite frankly,
I don't know how they come up so good looking, considering
adoption. Anyway, right.
At least you didn't say the milkman. So.
This is true. And I'm sitting here with two men who have just the most beautiful families, and you're incredibly lucky. And that's why you work so hard, because every day a man gets up and he wants to provide for his family. And
there's a purpose.
You need purpose in life. This is Edge Radio Australia, the Greater Wealth.